Thanks very much. Good morning, everybody. So I've been asked to come along and tell you about CLASP. The reason I set up CLASP was my youngest son. We woke up one morning and his legs were covered in bruises. And being a mum, your instinct is to find his big brother and find out why he hammered him, which wasn't true, thankfully. So we took him to the doctor, sent us to A&E, and he had leukemia. And that was just such a shock. You know, I don't think you ever got over something like that. So our journey started. We had 7-month chemotherapy in Edinburgh, and then we were told he was in remission, which was amazing news. But then they hit you with, well, will we go for a transplant, a bone marrow transplant? Now, he may stay in remission, that would be great, but if he doesn't, he's terminally ill, and that's it. If you go for the transplant may kill him, and he may have been in remission. So it was a huge, huge decision. There wasn't any consultant who would tell us what was the right decision, because there had been this was 25 years ago. There wasn't enough evidence to prove which was the best way. We looked around the ward at all the other families. We watched children die every day. We all stared at each other every day thinking, whose child is it? I don't want it to be mine, I don't want it to be yours either. And I remember there was one family who had 8 children, and they tried for a bone marrow donor and couldn't find one, and their child had only weeks to live. And I think that was when it hit me. We had all been tested, my older son was compatible, let's go for it. And thankfully we did, and Robert survived, which his brother reminds him of every day of his life. Should he ever come into Murray's, to make sure that he gets the biggest portion. So during our journey, it was difficult, it was awful. And your whole life changed when you get a diagnosis like that. And when we looked around at all the other families, we were all going through hell. Everybody's eyes were just glazed. It was like, wow, what's tomorrow? So we thought, right, let's set up a support group. And it was only supposed to be a small support group. And I think there was 8 came the first time. And yet, here we are 25 years later, still running. I only tended to do it for about 3 months. So I don't know what happened in the middle. So we set up CLASP when we found out there was such a big need, and we tried to find sponsors to help us. The first thing I wanted to do was have a day out with the families, because when you're in the hospital, they don't encourage you to even talk to each other. You stay in your cubicle for fear of infection. You really stay away from each other, because my child can harm yours and your child can harm mine. And we don't want visitors, even though you missed all your family and friends. You really didn't want them to come in because they were bringing germs in. And that was so dangerous. So we thought, right, we'll have a day out. We organised a day out, and I found a businessman that was going to pay for it. And my son was the only one that didn't make it because he was ill, which was a bit hard. So at first we ran CLASP from home, and then a businessman gave me premises for a year. And he said, if you can prove yourself in a year, you'll be able to run it. And if you haven't, you don't deserve to run it. So I really had a challenge on my hands. So anyway, it worked, and we got a bit bigger and a bit bigger, right up until 2 years ago. I was going to say last year, but it's 2 now. 2 years ago, we heard that the Sick Children's Hospital was going to move to the Royal Infirmary, and we thought, wouldn't it be nice to have a drop-in centre, a bit like a Maggie's Centre, but for children, something in there for every family, because I know there was loads of things I would have loved. Sometimes you're told you can go out for an hour. Where do you go? You can't go near the public for fear of infection. What do? Walk round the street. So we thought, right, let's do it. So we got an artist's impression of what we think it could look like. We did some costings, way out your mind, thinking this will never happen. So we had a charity ball, and I did a presentation of what I think it would look like and whatever. And this gentleman said, and how much is it going to cost? I said, well, probably about £1 million off the top of my head, as you do. And he said, okay, just build it and I'll pay for it. And that's a day I'll never, ever forget, never. So we did, and he paid for it. I should have said 2 million, hindsight. But never mind. So I think it's coming about 1.3 million, which is fantastic. It looks amazing. You'll see pictures of it. And I'll go through some of the things that we do. With CLASP, we do all sorts of things. We do things that we hope is making life a little bit easier, making the children smile. We know it's doom and gloom, we know we may lose our child. I can't change anything during their treatment, I can't change the outcome of their treatment, but I can certainly make them smile in between. So we send in, well, here's a party, I'll have a look here. So this is a Christmas party. James Thompson at the Pressingfield House donates the place. Well, there's Thumper there, I was just talking about that for Sunday. What's he doing at a Christmas party? So this is the children arriving for the party. This wee girl's blind, she's got a unicorn on her head, so, because she doesn't know her face is painted, but we got her to have ones that she can touch. This is our lodge at Seaton Sands, it's gorgeous. So the families can go there for a break. There's people down there just now. So we've set up all these things like holiday homes, even just to go away for a weekend is amazing. This was Robert then, my son William, who gave him the bone marrow. Handsome boy, see. Oh sorry, I'm standing in front of you. So this is Robert in the hospital way back. These are just some of the children that I've met on my journey. Some are here, some are not here. But we think about them all the time, and I still keep in touch with lots and lots of families. Sometimes a family will come along to an event that their child has survived, and it's good if your child has just been diagnosed, you really need to hear from somebody that, yeah, you know, children do survive. This is us at the pitch. This is the gentleman, it was his dad that gave me the £1 million. This is our cottage up in Mouthall in Perthshire. It's lovely, it's a wee sleepy village, it's like an episode of Still Game when you go up there, it's really hilarious. These are love locks. Has anybody seen the love locks on the Forth Road Bridge? Most of them are ours. We give a family a love lock and they put it on the bridge. This is just the children arriving at the party, so this is where we always need volunteers for people to dress up, because I'm too fat now. I can only be a Teletubby. This is the best part of the Christmas party. Santa comes down the chimney. And it's, the first time we did it, I was the only one that knew it was going to happen, and I was in floods of tears. I've waited my whole life on Santa coming down the chimney. And it was lovely, it was really great, and the kids just get so excited. And we're at the back with all the big sacks, we give them a big red sack, and we just swing them, and it looks like they're floating down the chimney, but it's just us at the back doing that, and it's really lovely. These are the reindeers, come from the Cairngorm Mountains. I once asked them how they bring them down. This is the front of the building. How do you choose which reindeers to bring? And the man told me, no, we leave the van open the night before, and the ones that like to go on a trip go in, and the ones that don't just jog on past. This is wee Summer with our Buzzy. We provide Buzzy as a little vibrating bee. This is our £1 million centre. Can you imagine that? My goodness. It is amazing. So within the centre, we have a room for everybody. This is a cafe. So down the bottom, it's sort of like, I want a cup of coffee, but don't talk to me. I sit there every day. And this, I'm hoping, this rooftop garden in Edinburgh, rooftop garden. How decadent. Apart from the fact that the local youths have been up there and playing football, and there's grass everywhere. Anyway, toddler room, so there's something for everybody. These things, although they look fun, they're always designed to help muscle. Clown Stevie. I don't know what age Clown Stevie must be, because he's been with us for about 20 years, and you looked like that 20 years ago. These are at the party again. I love these pictures. That's where I put so many in. So these are the children. So in the building, so I'll explain what's in this building. There's a cafe, as you see. If I can find a sponsor, I'll be giving the families free food. Eating out machines for childhood leukemia is 3.5 years treatment, and that's a lot of money, eating out machines for 3.5 years at £5 for an egg and cress sandwich. So I'm hoping that they can come over. There's no fear of infection because there's no public going to be allowed in our building, just families who have a child with cancer. So they can come over, have free food. Robert only ever wanted my soup. I don't know why, because it's horrible. So they could come over and make a meal that you know your child will eat, because while on chemotherapy, everything tastes like metal. It's horrible. So they can come over there and cook. We have lowered worktops, so you can come over and be just normal and make cakes or make a pizza with your child, or your child might be in a wheelchair. So without putting them on a stool, they can do things in there. We have a hydrotherapy bath. Now the children, obviously Robert had 7-month chemotherapy, and when he was told he could go home, he couldn't walk because his muscles are all wasted. So hydrotherapy sessions, they get 6 on the NHS, and then they go on a waiting list, and the waiting list just now is a year, which is so sad because they could recover so much quicker. So they'll be able to come over. I've had the physios over. They're going to bring the children as many times as they need until they're making a better recovery. So that's a really important room. We have a teenage room because we all know teenagers, they like to be on their own. They've put in chaise lounge so they can just lounge about as they do. I think we're going to have to do the walls with soundproofing because they make so much noise. Toddler room, as you've seen. We have a sensory room, which is amazing. Upstairs we have a quiet room in case you just want to be on your own. We have a fitness room, because that's another thing, especially the teenagers, you know, they get bloated with steroids, they go really big, they get embarrassed, they don't want to go to a gym because they've got no hair. So they can come and they can train, the parents can train in total privacy. Rooftop garden, that'll be for my wine o'clock with the mums, and that's messy. I've got the walkie shame in the morning with the bottles, and it's not fair because I have to do it every time. The man in Asda said, "Oh my God, you've had another wine o'clock." So we're hoping that there's something in there. We have a separate bit at the side. I don't know if you noticed, I should have showed you when the picture came round. This door here at the side, it takes you up to a family suite. So if you're allowed to come out for a couple of hours and you just want to be normal, just watch TV without machines beeping in your head, come over here and you can let yourself in. You don't have to actually come in the building because you're going to meet everybody and they're always going to be saying how you doing, and you maybe just don't want to speak to anybody. So you can actually, that's it there, so it takes you up to there. And it's just, you can go in and out as you please. There's 2 single beds, nobody will live there, but if your child's maybe going to go to theatre for maybe 9-10 hours, you're going to have to be fresh for them coming out. So you can come and have a sleep and we'll wake you up and say, right, you better have a shower and go. So I'm hoping that now that we've got this, we can, the hospital opens July, and it's going to be full every day, I think. I hope. A lot of families have been in and said, oh, we can't wait to get started, and so I'm really excited about all that. So I don't know if you want to ask me any questions, or is there anything you think I haven't covered, or?
Well, tell them about when you took the kids on the airplane.
Oh, right, Santa flight. There was a lot of children one year that every child wants to go to Lapland. Every child, let's face it, whether you're sick or not. And there's a lot of charities that do Lapland trips, of course there are. But there was a huge amount of children this year that were too ill to go to Lapland because it's too far, the altitude to fly, it can cause internal bleeding, and it's too cold. So we chartered a plane, as you do. And thankfully the first year we did it, do you remember it was about 8 years ago, there was snow up to about here in the closed airport, which was good because I got my money back, so I could do it the following year. So we chartered a plane. We met at RBS at Gogarburn, and they all got their special passports that RBS printed for us, and they had to learn the penguin walk before they could go. The police gave us a police escort over to the airport, and we boarded. They took off. We were only circling Edinburgh, but they didn't know that. They thought we were going to visit Santa. Well, we were, but no in Lapland. And we were all having fun on the plane, and of course when you've got a group of kids, there's always one wee smarty pants, eh? So this wee boy, there's Ocean Terminal again. I said, no, that's Oslo. Oslo are very naughty, they copied Ocean Terminal, that's why it looks the same. And then we get a phone call over the tannoy, and it's Santa. Oh, where are you going? I've just passed your plane, and you wouldn't believe how many of them said they seen him. Okay, and some for that window and some for that way. We said, oh Santa, come on, how could you get mixed up? We're all on the plane. And he said, oh well, I'm sorry, I thought I was to come to Gogarburn. I said, well, have you got the toys, Santa? Yeah, I've got the toys. Oh, well, we'll just come back. And we just landed. And they just fell for it. Everybody fell for it. It was good because we had a lot of the teenagers, the wee ones trust the teenagers, and they look, although the teenagers find them pests, they really look after them. So we let them in on the secret, and we gave them a giant Pinocchio for telling lies all day, for keeping the secret. So that was good. Is there anything else I've missed?
What's your Buzzies for?
Oh, Buzzy. Okay, Buzzy is a little vibrating bee, and they have thousands of injections throughout their treatment, and so Buzzy is really a TENS machine, and we all know that just distracts the brain from the area. But he's a little bee, and he's got wings that go in the freezer, so they're nice and cold. So it goes exactly where you're going to have the injection, nice and cold. And we turn it on and it buzzes and it vibrates and it's really funny and it's tickly, and so they start to laugh. And we've got cards, distraction cards they are, so you know which monkey's wearing lipstick and he's busy looking at that, and this is buzzing and it's freezing and everything, and they get the injection, they don't feel anything. Oh, there's some. So they all get their own Buzzy. They cost £55 each, and what a difference it makes to the children who get all these injections. We give iPads to teenagers. They say it's to help with schoolwork. I know they're on Facebook 2 minutes after a handover. That's fine. And they give you this big long story. Oh, I'm missing my homework. Right, okay. So just all the things that we do, everything we do is to make the children smile, make the parents smile. And the reason I've got inclusion is I don't just do everything for the sick child. I do it for the whole family. So when we have parties and picnics, everybody comes, even Granny. If Mum's no coping and Granny needs to come, that's fine. When they go in the minibus, my husband drives a minibus all over Scotland every day. He's got a great job, he gets to go home with the boss at night. So he's a very lucky man. Never had a promotion in 25 years, how sad. And he's never going to get one either. How do you promote a driver? So minibus is helpful, iPads, Buzzy, everything at all that we do is just to help make them smile.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.